Yeah, ladies and gentlemen.
Ah,
All right.
ah.
How long is it gonna be this week? Are you
Listen,
there? Huh? What's
it's gonna be
going on?
like the thriller video. You know, like the thriller video. You was like, man, this is good, but it feel like a movie.
Rob,
You know,
you don't have Vincent Price's voice, so I'm gonna need you to get on camera, sir.
in a universe
Right.
far from here.
Far. Right.
What to do? Oh man.
What's going on, my brother?
You know, man, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing very, very well. Feeling great, and looking forward to this evening, man. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. How's life after a couple of days off? You know what I'm saying? We
Listen,
get a
man,
couple of days off here and there.
it don't stop though. I'm
No,
just so well, my way of moving around just wasn't being recorded. So
exactly.
that's the only difference for the type of things that we do and the type of brothers we are. It doesn't stop. So what you get from us on a podcast, we probably get knocked upside our heads for still bringing it home and talking about it because it's what we do.
Man, I'm telling you,
Probably too often.
if we stay away too long, right? I
Hmm.
start getting awakened in the middle of the night with thoughts like, yo, somebody said this, somebody said that. What's going on over
Yeah.
here? So, man, it's good. It's good to be back.
Hmm.
And having another opportunity, man, to talk our talk, and
Yeah.
be inspired. Because I get
Hmm.
inspired by you every week, man. But we got to take this show on the road.
Hey man, you know how it happens, and I don't know if people are realizing, but and I'll call it an assortment. The assortment of different people, the the different individuals that we have the pleasure of interacting with, speaking to, and allowing them to really pour into the community.
Right.
Like it's so different
Yes.
in so many different ways, where it's like they're bringing so many different things to the table, even if they're talking about similar topics sometimes, just based upon their personality and their experiences, it could hit in so many different ways to those who are listening and those who are watching. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and the man, the fantastic thing about it, Rob, is that um every week, every guest, every subject is
Mhm.
one punch outside that wet paper bag or outside that box that we thought we're kind of getting outside of, but there's so many interesting people with
Mhm.
some rather
Yeah,
intoxicating, right,
very.
takes on the uncertainty of today and
Mhm.
what being a professional is and just
Mhm.
what being a person is. Um, that I'm always pleasantly surprised every week, man, and I learned something. And I don't think this week is going to be any different. Any different.
I completely agree. Just getting the opportunity to interact and speak to the individuals, very briefly, I know that it's going to bring a lot of value to the table, which, to be honest with you, if folks don't have this mindset, I hope you pick it up. Anyone who gives you time is valuable, right? So, I'm big on trying to get people to recognize that anything that you can't get back is more valuable than many of the things that have been created by man and woman. So, somebody giving you their time and being willing to spend time with you is is a blessing unto itself.
That's true. You know. And speaking of that, man, time. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of time doing what they do, and it's very difficult to promote, to expose,
Hmm.
to educate the masses on what you are
Hmm.
contributing in without this little thing called the press, right? And
Hmm.
journalism, right? So tonight, man, we're gonna talk about um, the freedom of the press and why it's
Hmm.
so important. And then things from the side of the creative arts. like
Yeah.
photojournalism, activism, and really putting the human experience on record, right?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like back, I'm aging myself, but back when hip hop wasn't as popular as it is today, it
Uh-huh.
didn't dominate the airwaves. Now it's America's number one exported commodity, but it wasn't always on the airways, and we would have to record
Mm-hmm.
whatever radio hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
That whatever particular DJ got an opportunity to just spin hip hop music. We would have
Yeah.
to record it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that reminds me of the role of the press, which is really to educate the masses of people on the truth, the reality of the human experience of what's going on out there to help people stay informed.
Yeah.
However, when we dive into this diversity, equity, inclusion thing, when we
Mm-hmm.
dive into professional cultures behind the walls of the corporate industrial complex, when we just
Yeah.
dive into people and coaching them. You and I both do
Mm-hmm.
that. Just being themselves. It is almost it is almost alarming how uneducated we really are because we just haven't been exposed to nowhere near as
Mm-hmm.
much as we could, with respect to the human experience, outside of the traditional status quo. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. And something I would add to that is the idea around bringing not just your true self, but the truest form of your culture and your people to the table, and not allowing it to be washed down, thoroughly watered down to fit other people's taste. And it's the most interesting thing as we look at where society is now. There are groups of people who are fighting for that for their own people, and then it's something that has in some form of fashion always been right outside of where we are as people of color, black people, minoritized people, however you want to classify it. So being able to bring our components to the table and recognize that some of this got to be done on our own, right?
Yeah,
Somebody can't give you freedom. Freedom is a mindset, and I truly do believe that people can't give you freedom. Freedom is a mindset.
right.
You know.
And people are not going to finance your freedom revolution, right?
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? You gotta
point.
finances, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
indicate revenue. Revenue
Mm-hmm.
indicate you got to be a pro or professional at something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when we really talk about leveling up from corporate trauma, which is, those negative experiences
Mm-hmm.
that follow you in the workplace that
Yeah.
almost seduce or induce you to become a shell or caricature of yourself in order to survive. Man, there's people out here thriving by being who they are, right?
Yes.
And it's almost like we got to break through that imaginary wall or ceiling or chip and thaw the ice, um, because the only thing that holds people back from
Mm-hmm.
truly introducing who and what they are, their best selves, right,
Mm-hmm.
is fear, right, which is the first symptom of corporate trauma.
Mm-hmm.
um, so that's why I love what we're getting ready to go into tonight, with
Mm-hmm.
our subject matter, freedom of the press.
Yeah. Going piggybacking off of what you mentioned, in some form of fashion, allowing other people to box you in on what you can do, how much you can bring to the table. I know we was talking about the article earlier where they're seeing in the data for that 12 million or so people who left the workplace in the great resignation, more
And
than
counting,
50
12 million and counting.
more than 50+% of them started their own businesses, right? And it's one of those situations I am a big advocate of. You can't consistently be trying to wait for people to treat you better.
Right,
Some people you just have to leave,
right.
right? And I don't owe you my time for you to figure out that you love me, that you care for me. So and so I say it that way because that can be your relationship at home, that can be your relationship at work. But to give people so much power where they can decide when they do you right is always
And
my issue.
and to your point, there's nothing wrong, right, with being an employee long enough to learn the
Mm-hmm.
different things that you can glean off of your employer that will
Mm-hmm.
make you successful in your own endeavors. Nothing wrong with that. You don't owe
Nothing.
nobody, you don't owe nobody that much that now you feel like you are doing a disservice to a bigger entity because now you want to take what you learned and go use it to do something for yourself. Like
Your
that's a
money,
go
your
ahead.
money doesn't supersede my time. Right,
Facts.
like and that's the thing that every time folks get on this and they watch us, when I say you don't own me, sucker. Like, you don't own me, sucker. Like,
Right.
there's no ifs ands or buts about it. That the idea when I show up, we're in a partnership.
Facts.
I don't care if you're a billion or $1 trillion business and someone would give their right arm to own a piece of you. When I come in here, we're working on the relationship that we agreed on. And at any point in time, if that relationship doesn't make sense for you or I'm about this piece.
Right, right, right,
Right. After I've gotten what I needed to get, I'm about this piece because
right.
you would, companies will do the same to you.
And I'm no good to you. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, I'm taking up space. If I
Yep.
get beyond the point of it being a mutually beneficial
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
And there's
Uh,
nothing wrong with that.
and there's nothing wrong with that, but people
Mm-hmm.
stay because they become victims to their own corporate trauma, right? Stories that they have
Mm-hmm.
submitted to, narratives that they submitted to that are impressed upon them by the corporate industrial complex, or these stories and narratives that we make up in our own head,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That,
And
that's
that's
a
a big
fact.
part of that too. Like nobody's going, nobody's really gonna miss you.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a meme. You could lose your job today. 30 days, they won't even remember your name. They
Mm-hmm.
in 30 days, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
You know
That's
what
a
I'm saying?
fact. And you'll be
So
crying, like, what I'm going to do. And I can't believe I gave them so much time. And what?
yeah, for real.
Come on. Come on.
Come
Stop
on,
this
man.
nonsense. Stop this nonsense.
Hey, but listen, like I always say before we introduce our guests, you ain't got to believe me because we're
Mm-hmm.
bringing some subject matter experts,
Yes.
Rob, right?
Yes.
That can help us carry this conversation and build this narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and not that we're trying to make up a story, but we want to give everybody real time opportunities to
Mm-hmm.
understand what's really possible out there by
Yeah.
thinking outside the box. So tonight we have one powerful team of two wonderful individuals that represent one of my guilty pleasures, which is t-shirts. If y'all keep up with me and the t-shirts that I wear on the Level Up Past
Yeah.
Corporate Trauma podcast, 90% of the t-shirts I wear are from this particular organization. And
Nice.
what I want to do is I want to really introduce them properly, and so that people can understand exactly the dynamics that this power couple, this two-person dynamic team is bringing to the table. Because I personally love what they do, and they've helped me recondition my mind as I started to unravel the corporate industrial complex and the employee mindset on me. It was before that, Rob, it was a chore for me to put on one of the t-shirts. Like, who's gonna look? Who's gonna see? Who's gonna ask this question? Am I ready to have this conversation? But I'm 5, 6 years in the game now. I'm like, yo, yeah, I need y'all to check this shirt out. So, man, I want to introduce, and before we bring them into the studio, I want to properly introduce um, my friends from Nations 19, the They're not just an apparel company. They're not just um, a clothing company. They're not just a magazine company. They're not just a a pair of two artists that make movies and whatnot. They are much, much, much more than that. But operating both as a collective um, and a art collective and a TV and film production company, their ambitious projects, Nation 19, I'm talking about, are frequently anchored by the hip hop culture, which I said earlier, hip hop culture is America's most exported commodity. They use hip hop culture, archaeology, and ethnographic research. And they do all this to make sure that their mission is known to demystify preconceived notions about indigenous and underserved communities all around the globe. Working in innovative ways, Muhammad Ali and Khalik have developed a model that merges collaborative conceptual art practices, partially steeped in activism, edutainment, and visual anthropology. Queen Muhammad Ali and Hakeem Khalik have directed films in 7 countries and have lectured in universities and organizations around the world, including the Confucius Institute in Beijing, China, MoMA, the Museum of Modern Arts in New York, Tia I'm sorry, I'm gonna tear this name up, but Tia Papita Art Center in Apia, Samoa, Arizona State University, Glasgow Short Film Festival, Denver Metropolitan College, Glendale Community College, the University of Arizona, Wayne State University, and California State University in Long Beach. Their work has appeared on Univision, Radio New Zealand, CNN, BT, MTV, KTLA, New York Daily News, Samoa News, Associated Press, Ebony Magazine, Jet, Huffington Post, and LA Weekly. Rob, I'm getting out of breath. They are two dynamic people. Queen Muhammad Ali, her name is not an accident. Her great grandfather is Paramount Chief or King Tuli Lee Ayato of American Samoa, and Hakeem is also the great nephew of the prominent photographer Addison N. Skurlock. And before I bring them into the studio, I just want to play um, a trailer that we can see one of their more famous projects. All right. Well, with no further ado, bringing in my people, my team, my man. Listen, I'm fanning out right now. Queen Muhammad Ali and Hakeem Khalik of Nations 19. Good, good evening, good day. How are y'all doing? So
What's
glad
up?
that y'all are. What's going on?
Man,
I'm
what's going
good.
on? I
Thank you
love
for
that
having us.
introduction. Man. You guys are dope.
Man, we really appreciate you being on here because
Hmm.
I think, and Rob think, I know I speak for him when we say your interesting approach to educating the world is such an important piece for what it is that we represent on the Level Up Past Corporate Trauma podcast, where professionals come to learn how to level up from those places of being stuck. As people that have to get up and go to work, we put humanity back into their everyday lives. So there's no better way that I would want to do that on this evening other than having a conversation with you two. So I know we introduced you, and I read your wonderful bio. Y'all are award-winning artists. The clip that you just saw was from hashtag Bars for Justice, a piece of art that y'all put together after the unfortunate occasion that happened in Ferguson after Mike Brown's murder a few years back. But tell our audience a little bit about yourself before we actually get started. Would love to hear from you, just to tell us a few more things about you that we may not know.
Well, I will say that we started off actually in corporate America, and
Wow.
uh, well, it's funny because the company that I was a creative director for a company after we got married. Before that, I had worked at NBC also. So I come from Hollywood, Queen, and I come from the Hollywood hustle and bustle. But I was working for a company, and they kind of lowered my hours to the point where it was like nothing. And
Wow.
but instead of making that like a bad situation, my wife, Queen, who was pregnant at that time, she decided to start a company, and that was like a marketing firm. And so what we did is we actually started to sell our marketing to the clients that I was working for, and we literally just completely just took like two of their salespeople, and our one of our first clients, that was that Microsoft project, right?
Yeah, we did Microsoft and Office Depot.
And Office
So
Depot.
that was our first project.
And so, it just made it made me realize that I didn't really have to go back to work no more. And I thought that it was a good, it was literally like the first stage of just feeling that you can do something and not have to be in that situation. Because I'm like, well, if you cut my hours, then you can't say nothing. You can do whatever we want. So we actually used to use their conference room for our
Yeah.
and we told them too, like, hey, we about to sell this website, so
Hey, I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Hey, listen, I'm laughing, and Rob know why I'm laughing.
I don't know why you're laughing.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
The statute of limitations on our stuff has not run out.
Okay, I won't say that.
Like, hold up,
no.
Don't say that yet.
Don't incriminate me. I might need to go back. Listen, I might need to go ask for some dollars. They may not want to give us no dollars when they realize the stuff we was into.
Rob, it's too late. It's too late. You already seen in here with me. I got my Nations 19 shirt on. It's already too late, man. So, but nah, that's a wonderful anecdote, right? Because it's so popularized on our show. People, I don't know how many times with our guests and just between Rob and I, we've heard similar narratives around, they put me in a tight situation, and now I had to make life decisions based off of this singular move that an employer, really rendered me helpless to the point where now I have to take my talents to South Beach, right? I got to bring my skill set right to the marketplace. But right, that don't sound familiar to you, Rob? I mean,
but see, it sounds very familiar. See, I'm one of those folks. I'll be in the job protesting stuff. Like, I'm slowly in there. Once I realize something doesn't make any sense to me, I'm in there like, y'all sure y'all want to let them do this to us? Like, I'm telling you, I'll be good. I'm good, but I'm a fight. I'll fight with y'all. And some folks, they're not about that life. Like, they would have run into the situation that you ran into,
right?
And they just would have been sad. Man, they cut my hours. I don't know what to do. Like, and they stay on sad, right? They stay on upset,
right?
And they and no action comes out of it,
right?
So even as I looked at the clip and listened to the things that you talk about, like that's what really like jumps out to me. Like, how do we get people to move past that first level of shock, which usually creates an emotion from them, and allow that to create movement? Right? Not just a movement, but a movement in your life. you
Well,
know.
I think that one of the main things for people who want to become independent entrepreneurs is the first thing that you really have to get in your mind is that uh, you can be just as smart as your boss is. What makes him smarter than you? Um, they most of these people that run these companies didn't even go to college, and there's a reason why, because a lot of these colleges and schools teach you to be employees. And so you have to get out of that mind state of employment and become an owner and be able to take responsibility over your own life, because it's really just taking responsibility. And once you have that mind state, I think that it helps you to move further and stop just being sad and down and just take responsibility.
Yeah. I,
Absolutely.
can I just add too that
Absolutely.
we did marketing for a while, and Queen landed like a $75,000 contract with PF Chains, and this is like right after we finished. Like we were just, this is what we're doing, but then we got
Nice.
burnt out because that the next level is now you're just a hired hand and you don't
Mm,
own anything.
Mm.
You don't own
Ooh.
anything because every time you do a project for a client, that's theirs.
it's theirs.
And
Mm.
that became not the ownership part, but just the mere fact that you start to, if you are a creative person, you can actually start losing your creative edge, because guess what? It's not really something that you really, really believe in as much as your own self. So that was the next level, that we fired all our clients and went for broke and said we're just going to do it independently and use the clothing line and different projects in order to fund research, and we went back and educated ourselves, and took on a mentor in anthropology, and just traveled the world and started going that way. So it's everybody got different paths, but you just have to really believe in yourself, and that's what I really think, that with our whole crew, no one can come in and say, well, I think we're gonna think. No, we're gonna do it, right?
Right,
Okay.
right, right.
So just like what Queen was saying, you have to really just believe that you are as smart as the people that you work for, or smarter, because really they hired you.
Right.
So
Facts. To do something they couldn't.
yeah, yeah. And but also look at the job as an education. That's what we looked at it like. Every time we got a client, like, oh, they're gonna pay us to learn how to do something else that we didn't know.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's a great
that's
way to
such
look at it.
that's a great way to look at it. Right.
Mhm.
That's such a solid point for people to really, sit with and let it resonate, because to Rob's point, is no need for you to be sad, right?
Nah.
It's just an opportunity for you to figure something different out. Um, and I'm such a big fan. I love all of the elements of the human experience that you all combine in
Mm.
order to get your message out. And like I said earlier, I'm a huge fan of your urban wear, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, and because it was a point in time, right before the pandemic, dress dress wear for me was very conservative. So when I didn't have to put that stuff on, right, I wanted to have something on that was meaningful and was as unique as the tie I may have picked right the day
Mhm.
before. And but it's not just clothes for y'all. Y'all have a magazine, right? And then y'all are using your creative forces, right, to fund what it is that you're really putting out there. But as far as the photojournalism, the graphic arts, the magazine, the Nation's 19 magazine, and y'all are really part of the press. Like y'all are telling stories about culture, right, that may not have been exposed to certain people, and I can speak for myself, right? Just wearing your t-shirt line, I had to be reacquainted with the fact that there are people that look and approach the world just like I do all over the planet. Like
Yeah.
you hear people say that, right? But
Mm.
Yeah.
when I bought the Omeg head shirt, that's on the picture behind you,
On
I
the
was
wall,
like,
yeah.
yo, that's like, okay, now you're really putting it out in front of people tangibly. Like this could be
Yeah.
my uncle, but they found this a couple centuries ago in South America, right? When they didn't know that anybody else was living down there, right?
Actually,
So
it's and to really be uh, straight, the Olmec heads. We traveled to every Olmec site in Mexico. That was
uh-huh.
number one.
Wow.
A lot of people do clip art. They take the pictures off the internet and they put some T-shirts. That's our photo that we shot in
Wow.
Jalapa Museum.
Wow.
But what we want people to know was that these Olmec heads are literally millions of years old. No one knows how
Yes.
old they are, and it's so fantastic that when you go around the world and you see Black culture, indigenous culture, but it's advanced mathematics, advanced science, and it's completely like, the media does not do a great job at promoting those truths. And so Black children, indigenous children,
Mm.
Samoan children, they don't know what they have. They don't, I was just thinking about a conversation because we also teach in American Samoa. We teach film at the high school, just volunteer. But sometimes
Nice.
you're talking to people out there, and this is their culture, and they don't even know
Don't even know
because
it.
they don't know parts of their culture that we're researching and trying to extract and put it on shirts and put it on different things so that we can teach. Because we just realized that those are just billboards. T-shirts are billboards. But
In facts. And,
yeah,
and and that was our first question, was really, how important, from your perspective, from your opinion, how important is it for this level of culture to be upfront and present in people's lives, even if they don't even, to your point, don't even know that it's their culture? What has been the impact of bringing people into understanding these different cultures? Just the little nuance that's your picture. You took that picture, right? And it wasn't just something that you went and grabbed off the internet. Like, you did research and you understand what it is and where it comes from.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think that the youth today, for them to learn the culture, the the real culture is universal. The entire planet is Black. I'm just being honest. Like everywhere, we're taught in America that we're the minority.
Right.
But really, when you go around the world and travel, you realize that you're not the minority. And here in America, we've become, or the youth has become, cultureless, where they have this attitude where they don't care, they don't really have a value on other people's lives. They don't have any respect. And that really comes from the uh, European culture that has been colonized on us.
yeah,
When we go to these other countries, everyone cares for each other. It's more family orientated in these other cultures, and they're really our cultures. So for us to, when we travel and when we share these cultures with other people, and they realize, oh, that's part of me. I had a grandfather that looked just like that. It opens up a reality to them that they're not these minuscule people that live in the hood.
Mm.
That we are universal people. And so it's like a
Mm.
really, really positive effect, especially on youth, for us to share this information with them.
yeah. Just breaking stereotypes. That's like one of our main thing is to completely take a stereotype and turn it inside out and throw it back at people and make them basically like, you can't say that this is what it is anymore. You can't say
Mhm.
that our people are cannibals. So in
Right.
journalism, we actually had an opportunity with a very prestigious entity, Sundance, and they asked us to put together an installation exhibit for that particular year's Sundance And when we put it together, they wanted something very similar to what we did in Mexico, where it's like an augmented reality, the whole thing with Black Mexicans. They wanted something similar like that, but something new. And what we did was we did it on anthropophagy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are not familiar with anthropophagy. They're familiar with anthropology.
Right.
Anthropology is the study of cannibalism. And so what we did is we wanted to show throughout the world that there is no any history or any proof of cannibalism or communal cannibalism anywhere on the planet within indigenous or Black cultures. Not in Mexico, not in the Pacific Islands, definitely not in Africa. And so, but we have the proof of this. And a lot of anthropologists know this because that's how they base their books on these lies. Like when you look at the movie
Apocalypto. Yep.
It's just all lies, But that's how they keep the stereotypes and the negativity down, so that you don't want to embrace your culture and your history. You don't want to learn. Who wants to? If you trace your history and all you found was everybody was cannibals, you don't really want to talk about that.
That's a fact.
Listen, brother, you know what the craziest thing about that? So if you think about all the things, the pictures that were shown on TV from during the mid to late 80s into the early 90s about Africa, it was all about Ethiopia and distended stomachs, of people suffering. That was the only picture that we got on TV of Africa. And
so
the thing that really
we was negative toward Africa.
The whole entire.
Yeah, you're right? African booty scratcher.
You're African booty scratcher, right? you had a whole entire joke,
right,
of crack, of jokes that you had against your brothers and sisters from a place that you had never been before. But the thing that really jumps out to me about what you're saying, and I'll say it in the way that I hear it, that I understand it, and that aligns with what I understand. You could not find, you won't be able to find cannibalism amongst indigenous and those of African descent, because we were in a place we don't come from a place of being deprived, right? It's not until we're in a place that's been occupied, right? So when you really think about it, you can't find indigenous and Black people being having a deprived mindset until you realize we've been occupied.
Right.
Anywhere on the face of the earth. And then just to tie it back to what you said also about going back, I think you said millions of years. I have no idea, but I know that head is huge. And so when I think, right?
It's 9 feet tall.
9 feet tall.
That one is the king is 9 feet tall. It weighs 13 tons.
That's crazy. And for me, I bring that up to tie both together. We don't hear about things that they can't wash away and water down.
Right.
So there's a reason why how even in Egypt it's presented a certain way.
That's right.
Right. It's a reason that we didn't hear about Mansa Musa in Mali when we were growing up, but we heard about what's his name?
King Leopold.
Listen, I read that book, man. That guy is horrible. I don't know where they burning him at, but burn him again. Right? I'm telling you, man, that dude was horrible, bro. That dude was horrible. He was horrible. But I read King Leopold's Ghost. That opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Right.
But when we just think all the stuff that you're talking about and what you're bringing to the table for people is about self-love.
Right. That's it.
Being able to recognize yourself in these things. And I tell folks all the time, other people are afraid because they have an idea of what the world once was when we knew who we were.
Right.
Right. And that's the piece when you really kind of recognize the uphill battle. They're like, well, why would we give away that whole entire idea of like equity? Well, we're going to give away where we are to let these jokers possibly get back to. No. I'm not buying that.
I want to say something. In the world of anthropology, which that's what we deal with a lot of visual anthropology, because we realize that our people are visual people. That's why iPhones are so big to us, right? In the world of anthropology, a lot of these professors and scholars, so-called scholars, wrote these books in the 1800s and 1700s, the places that they never visited. So the first key that Queen and I wanted to do was make sure that if we present something, we either research it to the point where we've talked to people that did go there, or we go there ourselves. We make a point to actually go there. And it's so important that Black people travel to these places and talk to people. When we went to Fiji, you know, our preconceived understanding of Fiji is what we read. But when we went there, it was totally different. We was in a mango farm. The taxi driver took us to his village and a mango farm. We didn't even get to hotels yet. We were just like rolling around kicking it with him all day. I just told him, I said, whatever you do, I don't want to see no white folks. And so he was driving around. He was like,
don't go to Boston.
White people showing us over there. He
Don't
said,
go to Boston.
you don't want to see white people.
Wow.
But I'm just saying, like, we just have to just change it, and just love our people and not be afraid to see our people everywhere we go. That's how we maneuver, you know. And it changes everything.
Wow. Yeah, it changes.
That is awesome.
My mindset is, you know, it changes everything. And it's back to something Queen said. The world is more universal than we realize in our little bubble in the West, right? And see, so I want to hear more. So I'm going to ask you this. Can you tell us more positive stories, anecdotes, and outcomes of your work and your research, right? Of learning about people and their cultures, because this conversation is particularly important because the omission of what it is that you all are sharing with us tonight is the reason why people go to work and put up with a toxic environment, because they do not see themselves in it. They don't see the possibilities in it. So I want our audience to know the positive outcomes of people understanding who they are and how they bring that with them, and they show up, because people got to go to school, people got to go to work, and they have to show up in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And we can't omit what y'all are talking about. And those,
man, y'all doing some dope stuff.
Yeah,
like I'm telling you, like I'm about to geek out. I'm telling you, I don't even know if y'all have an idea. Like
they don't.
I grew up watching the Animal Channel. That was as close as I got to Africa. And that was just so dope. I used to just sit there. My grandfather would sit on the couch when he was in the house. And now getting the opportunity to hear y'all talk about things and places that y'all been, and y'all been able to capture it and like really dive into the culture, and it doesn't have to be diluted.
No.
And helping people get to that place. And I would just end with this. Wherever you've gone, wherever people can think about, in the beginning, if there was Homo sapiens there, they look like us. And that piece right there is the power in it all, regardless of where we are right now and how we're living. But as I'm listening to you, that's what's in my mind. I'm like, man, they seeing it all. Like they over here looking centuries and millenniums in the past.
I'm gonna say this. This is important, especially in this environment. I'm not gonna go into it deep. But
I'm going, sign me up.
Hey, we there.
I just don't want to pay a lot of money. Sign me up. I'm in.
I know brother Jamal is a hip hop head. I'm just assuming that Rob is one too.
Oh yeah.
Queen and Queen and I had an opportunity to go to Colombia, the country of Colombia in South America, to shoot a film for the United Nations. So on our going to Colombia, the first part was everybody like, you got to be real careful because the Zika virus is out there and you got to be super careful. Oh my God. You sure you're going to go? Because the Zika virus, like, what the hell? We get to Miami, we fly to Bogota. We get to Bogota. Nobody ever heard of the Zika virus. That was number one. So I want people just to remember that. All right. That's number one. Number two, the first day that we were there, Rhymefest was with us. So Ryan Fest is one of the main key people in this documentary, and he runs Donda's house for Kanye, or used to. No, I think he still does. I think they cool again. They always fighting. Anyway, at that time they was cool, right? And so we also had Jasiri X, and Jasiri X, that was a film with Bars for Justice as well.
Right.
So the first night we're there, an interpreter is like, "Yo, I gotta come to our studio." I'm like, "Damn, okay." This is the first. We didn't even really check into the hotel yet, and we're in the most dangerous, quote unquote, most dangerous city in the world at this time. Uprisings, all kind of stuff going on, and people are like, "Hey, they're gonna steal your equipment." And I'm like, "Oh man, they're gonna steal my camera." Oh my god, it's like $10,000 camera. So I'm like, okay, get on this train. We go deep, deep, deep into Bogota. Mind you, we don't even know which direction we're going because we just got there. It's at night. We ain't got compass. Where's the hotel at? We don't have no clue. Yeah. We go like 45 minutes into nowhere. It gets darker. Now it's starting to look like the south side of Chicago. And we look, and I'm looking at Queen like, man, what are we doing? We don't follow Ryan Fest. Ryan Fest is crazy. He's a rapper. You don't follow rappers. We're the filmmakers. we get off the train, this subway type thing, and these dudes, one dude eye looking this way, one dude looking crazy, and they're like, come on, come this way. And now we're going down an alley, and I'm like, man, we're gonna get killed. We're gonna get killed.
You don't even follow people down alleys in New York.
Nobody's gonna know where we were. Because guess what? We never really even checked in the hotel. We didn't stay there but 15 minutes and left. But when we get there, go into a little area, I told Queen, I was like, look, if it go down, I'm gonna pull this screwdriver out of my bag for my camera. I'm just gonna start shaking dudes in the neck or something. You know? So I told her that, right? I was like, so just get ready. You know what I'm saying? Because she, you know, Queen can handle herself. We both martial artists too. So I was like, we're gonna just get busy.
Right.
We get up, it's black. And it was really a studio, and they really treated us good. And dude was like the shot caller in that area of Bogota. And we went on and we did 10 days in Bogota. We went to Pablo Escobar's grave. We went to Medellin. We went to Cartagena, where all the black people are. And it just completely like knocked out of our head that this was dangerous. It's dangerous to y'all, but it's not dangerous to us because it's our people. Wow. And they don't look at us the same. They look at
somebody
us.
needs to hear this. Somebody does.
That changed it, you know, and the same thing happened to other countries that we went to.
The funny thing about it was when we were there, all the youth was all into like old school hip hop. They didn't even know trap. We don't listen to trap out here. We're like, we only listen to like.
We'll send you a little clip of that film. Yeah. It was only for United Nations, so we can't really screen it or whatever, but I'll send you a little clip. And it's beautiful because Ryan Fest doesn't speak Spanish and they didn't speak English, but they're freestyling and busting to each other. And it's just unbelievable because hip hop is a global language. And so that is a part that we always infuse our projects with hip hop as much as we can because we're both hip hop heads. That's how I met Queen. That she was the only woman that I knew that knew what Gangstar was and was rolling around listening to Gangstar. I'm like, yo,
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking
about. Where you going? Hold on, slow down.
Yeah. Stay right there. And shout out to my man Jasiri X. I got an opportunity to spend some time with him when he came to Boston and visited Harvard University for their hip hop exhibit. When they were featuring Nas, they had just opened it up. So I want to give some love to my man Jasiri X. He's a dope brother, dope MC as well. Yo, that's a fantastic story.
That's scary though, but it's fantastic. That's my goodness. I bet. Go ahead. Y'all try it again. But you know what? If y'all can be the explorers for the rest of us, I will say this. There's something about scaring Black folks that lasts for generations.
Right. Yeah.
And just imagine if we were okay with being connected with each other from continent to continent to country. Yeah. Just imagine the impact that we could have. And I'll just end that statement with this piece. I remember this guy, I was talking to this guy out in California, and he said, I'm really big on trying to see how we can fix some things, a white guy. And he said, Rob, to be honest with you, over the past 400 years, a big part of innovation has been from white people. There's been some black folks in there, right? But he said, just imagine if black folks and brown folks who have gotten the rawest end of the stick for the past 400 years were actually involved. Imagine where we could be. And, you know, when you kind of look at it from that standpoint, anything that black folks create, anything that we actually are involved in enhances all people. Like it enhances people to the point where, and I'll use this example. You don't get a black bill of rights, right? You don't get black rights, you get civil rights, and everybody benefits from it, right?
Absolutely.
Like there is, if there was a hate crime bill, it would be a hate crime bill for everybody. It would not be for black people. Anybody else could get one of those. There's something about having black attached to it, where if we could just get to a point where we loved ourselves enough, and if I saw y'all and I said, "Hey brother," and "Hey sister," and I'm like, no matter where you're from, I know there's something that we have in common.
Yeah,
that's
and it wasn't about if you're black enough or if you're light enough or whatever the case may be. If you're from the hood, if you're from the suburbs, but it's like, yo, we in this together.
Yeah. I mean,
that's that piece that's missing.
And Rob, you make a great point, because diversity, equity, and inclusion is just the vacuum filler for affirmative action and some of the things that went away. And it's unfortunate because things that we have universally put together to acquire what we did not have benefited so many other people in a greater fashion than it has us. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I just want to chime in. In my opinion, on a global perspective,
right,
and being independent, I don't have no boss except for Queen sometimes.
Watch out now.
Hey, hold on. We got it.
Thinking.
We understand.
I think that, and this might sound, crazy to people. When I say this initially, it makes people think that I'm crazy, but integration actually was the worst thing that ever happened to black people. Because
that's a fact.
Because we're not thinking of doing for self or doing something. When that pressure is on, when the pressure is on is when you do. When there's no pressure, you're just chilling. Because Queen was just showing me this study that they did with these lab rats, and they gave them everything. Everything, they didn't have to work or nothing, and everything they went into homosexuality. Excuse me, hey, I'm just being real. They went to different things, but their society stopped producing, and they just died off because they had no push. They had nothing there. So actually, what white America did was make us all geniuses. That's really what it did, because we had to create hip hop from nothing. We had to create jazz and different things from absolutely nothing. That's why everybody's like, oh my God. When you're in other countries, other black people look at black people in America like we the G's. I walk down the street like this. Oh, everybody want to change their hat to that. I'm like, man, let me turn it back. Oh, everybody turn it. So it doesn't really, it's us.
Yes.
Yeah, like in China, when we was in China, and I say this every single time. I know traveling is hard right now with COVID and all that, but I'm telling you, black people got to go to Asia, especially China, because you will bug out. You will be Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson.
And don't tell Rob that, please.
As soon as
you get off the plane.
But do I need a camera?
It don't even matter if you look. I thought it was because Queen was getting it and she light skinned. You know what I'm saying? Like she was getting it was a lot of love. It was a lot of love. And it was just so much that it got to the point where you just don't want to smile no more. You want to kind of hide because you couldn't get from one point to the other without people trying to shake your hand and take pictures, and this old lady crying because She wanted to meet black people.
She said that we
No
completed
way.
Yeah, we
What?
got a video clip of a Chinese lady saying that we completed her life, and she was crying
Man,
just
Rob,
by meeting us. And I'm like, we're nobodies. Nobody knew was coming. Nobody
Rob,
knew.
I did a lot of
I'm
stuff.
done.
That's
I've
China.
done a lot of
I'm
stuff,
done.
Rob, but I
I'm
ain't
done.
never complete nobody's life.
I'm done. I'm done.
I don't know if that's what
I'm
the
done.
truth, but that's what she said.
Well, it's either the truth or she got game. It's
Right.
either the truth or she got game. And I don't know. She knew Queen had her black belts and everything. So I don't know what she was trying to do. But you know what's the craziest thing? And you know what that kind of reminds me of? You ever hear when folks say, well, why don't y'all just leave the country if you don't like it?
Mm.
And it's one of those things where it's like one day
Yeah.
people need to wake up and we just not here.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
And-
for a
and
couple
actually-
minutes.
That's
Just for a
man,
couple
right?
minutes.
We just all happen to be on that imaginary ship, that Marcus Garvey, like that ship that Marcus Garvey was putting up.
Black
and they
Star
all just
Line.
wake up and they like, yo, where
Where'd they
everybody
go?
go? And they like, well,
who can we
why the
copy
food
off
don't-
of?
why the food don't taste the same? Like, man, the music don't sound the same.
Right.
Like, wait, well, what type of clothes are we gonna wear now? What's my body gonna look like now? Like, it's
Why
so
am I
many different pieces where it's sort of like how the South, after they shut down Reconstruction, and they was like, listen, man, we don't care if y'all go anywhere.
Right.
Get out of here if you want. And then the economy of the whole entire South start tanking, and they start pulling black folks off the trains.
Right.
Yeah.
When they start to realize how impactful you actually are,
Yeah.
like people, you're not appreciated. Like
Right.
when you really think about it, we're not appreciated to the point that many of us don't appreciate ourselves,
That's right.
right? Because we drink the Kool-Aid of the country. We drink the Kool-Aid of the country.
Right.
So when they meet folks like y'all, meet folks like us, and we walk in there nice and tall, and we actually believe, right? You actually believe your ish. You're
Right.
like, yo, I'm dope. And
Right.
they like, man,
Right.
so this is what it is. No, this is what it used to be. This is what it used to be. When you walk in and everybody recognizes royalty, regardless of where you are on the line of succession, like that's what we are. In the beginning, it was black. Like at some point in time, folks just got to get to a point where it's like you got to love yourself and love your people,
Yeah.
and you can also love everyone else. And loving
Right.
your people doesn't mean you hate other
people.
If
Exactly.
you don't love
Right.
yourself, you can't love nobody else.
Can't.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't. If I don't love myself, you can't trust me.
Man,
Yeah,
come on.
exactly.
You can't trust me. That's why this conversation is so important. And if you out there and you feeling uncomfortable, you needed to hear this.
Well, I ain't going down that
Unapologetically.
alley though. I ain't lying to you. I ain't going down that alley.
Right,
I'm
no,
not.
right.
Like I used to go and buy clothes and get
But
stuff.
Rob, but you may not go down that
there.
alley.
I
You
know.
may
I want to make sure I'm not. I just know I'm from New Jersey, and I just could not imagine I'm gonna drive 2 hours. And like my wife's from Jamaica, and she'd be like, "Oh, you know." Let me just tell you this last story, and it's gonna connect
Well, before
so much.
you tell the story, Rob, you may not go down that alley, but they didn't go down that alley by themselves.
I
They
know.
went with
I
each
know.
other. If you had somebody,
That's
you go
true.
down.
Listen, I was in Barbados. Everybody nice in Barbados. My wife started talking to this man who was
It's free
the
now
chef.
too. That's right.
Right.
Listen, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is before. This is when they still had the queen. I have no idea, but I'm telling you, we went out there for my wife's birthday, and we're walking, and we stopped by this restaurant, but they're closed. And she started talking, and they talking like the patois and all the others. I'm just sitting there like, all right. So he's like, yeah, we could. I could take you downtown. I'm like, I start looking, like my spider senses start going off, and like all of my like everything about my education started to leave my body, and it straight got to this about to be bullshit. This about to be something stupid because I can't be no sucker, right? I can't be a sucker,
A victim.
but I know what's about to happen. And she said, "Oh yeah, we'll go."
Oh,
We get in the back of this dude's car and we sitting there, and they drive us down the road about 5-10 minutes. And I said, we get out, and I tell you no lie, I had never seen this amount of people, let alone black people, in one place. It was like 400,000 people. It was the whole country.
Yeah.
When I tell you my senses was going up, we couldn't even move. And I said, yo. And I start cursing under my breath. I said, this is some bullshit. I said, yo. Now on the way out, I had to listen. When I tell you I gave her a piece of my mind, she said, but you can't be like that. I said, do you understand if something happens to you, your mother, I can hear her saying she's gonna machete me, right? She's going to machete me. I said, my job is to get you out. I said,
Right.
I can't beat all these people at one time. I said, I don't even think you're gonna be able to run fast enough if I give you time. It's 400,000 people. So at night, when y'all talking about y'all going to a part of Colombia, my sense, I would have been in the back in the car like, I ain't gonna be no sucker. But
you would have stayed at the hotel, bro.
no, I would have came. I'm trying to tell you, I would have came with you.
He would have
But on
came.
the way back, when we survived,
Yeah.
I
Right.
would have, bro, I'd have gave you a piece of my mind. Man, that was some nonsense. It was fun, but that was some nonsense. Don't do that no more, man. We could have died. I'm
But
that
he
guy. I'm
But
that
make
guy.
but make no mistake about it, he still went.
I would have
Yeah,
went,
that's good.
but I'd have
And
cursed you out
he
though.
still
I'd have
went.
cursed you out. I mean, I probably would
And
have
we'd
cursed you
be
out in
like,
front of
but
the queen. I'd
Rob,
have
did
said it
you
nicely in
but
front
did
of the
you
queen.
die?
But to you,
But did you
I
die,
don't care.
Rob?
It ain't matter if we
You
ain't
ain't
died.
died,
I
bro.
ain't
You
that
on the
guy.
show.
Yeah, I'm on the show, right? Yeah, you and your little punk behind what he said. I'm gonna jig some people. I'm
With
gonna
the
jig some people with
screwdriver.
the screwdriver. Your little
Hey,
punk
I was
behind
going.
screwdriver.
I'm going out. Look, I'm from South Central Los Angeles, fam. I'm
Uh,
going out.
see?
You gonna
Going
get
out.
hurt too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Word,
Lord.
word. That's what's
Yeah,
up,
Oh
bro.
man.
I love that though. I love that. I'm happy that y'all was able to experience that, and I'm happy and excited that y'all will continue to experience things like that and allow folks like me, one, to be more comfortable with doing it,
Yeah.
and then being able to live through what you experience,
Yes.
so that we can go and live, so that we can go and do it ourselves. Like
Right.
that is dope. All jokes aside, I ain't gonna lie to you. I probably would not. I'm telling you, I would not at night.
next
Definitely
next time we talk, Rob and Jamal, we're gonna tell you about when we had AKA 47s pointed at us because we snuck in the pyramids at night in Mexico. And we was almost arrested at 3:00 in the morning.
No, you almost got
And how
shot.
we got out of that situation.
Yeah, you got to tell us about that.
Yes.
But before that's but listen, before we let you go, right? Because the
Got
work
too
that
much
y'all
for me.
do, right? Shout out to Hakeem Sabri, who was our first guest, said escaping corporate trauma. I mean, clearly you two have escaped, right? And
Definitely.
burned down the bridge on
Mhm.
your way out, right? Like there's no
Yes, sir.
going back.
Nah.
So what we usually do to land the plane is ask, what would your advice be to anybody, professionals, coming out of marginalized groups, that's struggling to be the representative of that group, of their culture, of their hidden culture. What advice would you give them about educating their peers in groups, in places where their culture is not as unknown? I mean, not as known, right? Because there's a concept, right, that's called covering. People will go into these places like work or school and cover who they really are with ancillary details and variables about themselves because they are afraid for people to find out who they really are. Like like I know people in my family, like my ancestors, that had to cover. Um, but as free and as far removed from the corporate trauma side of things, what advice would you give other professionals and people who are seeking the same that you've obtained, um, to really be the light and to educate their peers, without feeling uncomfortable? What would you say to them?
One thing that I would say, well, I'll give you an example of what happened when we had first got the contract with PF Chang's. When I say PF Chang's, we didn't work for PF Chang's. We actually were at their corporate office as a contractor. doing all their marketing, branding, and also some commercials and things for them. But when we first got the contract, Hakeem went to go meet with them, and they were just like, tell me about yourself. And then he was just like, well, I'm a brother from South Central Los Angeles.
That's exactly what I said.
That should be self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that being said, it's like, it's really important because when you're in that corporate environment, you're always trying to put on a plastic smile. You're always trying to act what you are not and, be white. So when you're independent, you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
And even when you're not independent, you should always be yourself, because if someone doesn't respect you as yourself, then you shouldn't be around them.
Yeah.
And so
Facts.
one of the main things that when I give advice, or when we give advice to people that are trying to be independent, is that you have to go for it and like not think you're gonna fall back on something. Like somebody's always talking about you should just have a plan B or have something on the side you can fall back on.
Don't have that.
No, don't have that. It's just like when you're birthing a child, you don't have a plan to go throw them in the trash one day and not take care of them anymore. You only have.
I want my regular life back.
Right.
No, ain't no going back.
It's the same with like birthing ideas in your mind as far as what you want to do as your passion in life. You have to move forward and just keep on growing it. Not look back like, oh, I can go back to my job anytime and get a few extra dollars here and there.
Right.
So that's my.
I mean, I second what she say, and just be fearless, because there's times where we actually had to travel with a one-way ticket, 18-hour flight, not knowing how the hell we was gonna get back.
Oh, wow.
But we knew that we had to go at that particular time, and just being fearless. Don't worry about it. Just know that. And I know it sounds so faux pas or so whatever, but it's just that simple. You have to really believe in yourself and believe that what you're doing, it may need refining over time, but if you stay that course, you will be successful at what you're doing. I started off in the music industry. I really was a music producer before I met Queen. And but I could draw. So everybody's like, man, I love, you should learn Photoshop. So you just never know how it's gonna go, but you keep going forward into what you feel, what you're gravitating to, because it's when you're educating people. From my experience, you can't put nothing in someone. You have to pull it out of them. It's already there. It was already created in the womb. You cannot make a person be something. You have to pull it out of them. And so everyone that works with us, we always ask them, hey, what do you like to do?
Right.
I don't care what you want to do. What do you like? You don't make money doing that? That's fine. But do you like doing it?
Yeah.
If you like doing it, that's where we want you to work on. Because we do this in times where we had nothing. Literally nothing. But we love what we do so much that it didn't matter about the money. It never matters about the money. Don't focus on the money. Focus on happiness and focus on what you want to do. Because at the end of your life, man, you don't want to talk about all the money you made. You want to talk about how happy you was,
right,
and how fulfilled you were, and how it made you. It completed you. When we do projects or when we, do something or create something. We do it because we love it. We love the impact of that. We know that when that person wear that shirt, like, okay, that's Tutankhamun with some native feathers on it.
Dope concept. I can't.
That,
Yes.
But that's because my grandfather was a Choctaw Indian.
Right.
Queen is Samoan. The feathers is in both in our families, right? So we're like, man, this is just a dope idea to flip it like that and to mix it up. We're hip hop, right? It's a remix.
Yeah,
And then all of us
that's a
have that
fact.
cultural, piece of us. Feathers is in Africa, so don't be. And you know what? The first time that we did this shirt, it was actually going to go into a gallery in Phoenix, and the curator put it in the gallery. And when we got back from American Samoa to go to the gallery to witness it, I was like, damn, because we just showed up to the gallery unannounced. And it's a major gallery in Phoenix. It's called Mount Orchid. Shout out to Mount Orchid, because the actual people who own the spot is off the track. But this particular curator was an a-hole, and he said it fell off the wall.
Come on, man.
But the reason why is because he did not want to promote this unity of cultures. And I was like, man. And I was like, from then on, I was like, man, we'll make our own damn exhibits. We don't even need the people, So everything is a refining stage, and just keep going. Like right now, we've really got into film. We wasn't into film as deep as we were, and now that we did this feature, about Shorty from the Lynch Mob, it's like now it's a totally different, thing. But it's just it's just but just don't, it took us 3.5 years to do this film. So, and it was self-funded, independent. And, you have to just keep going and make sure that you believe in yourself.
And also read, educate yourself, read books that are going to help you. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
All these type of
Message to the Black Man.
Right. All these type of books.
John Henry Clark
can help you to.
I like him.
Expand your mind and get out of the thinking of, employee status.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
That's a perfect point.
Listen, beautiful. And I love the fearlessness. And and speaking of your film, before we leave, we're going to show your short, coming up short, right?
It's a feature.
It's a feature film.
It's a feature film, right? I'm sorry.
It's a feature film.
It's called Coming Up Short.
First feature. Yeah.
Let me get my words together.
Yes.
Coming Up Short. It's a feature film.
Share it the right way. Classify it the right way. I don't even know the difference. But I just know, I know it's gonna be awesome.
We're gonna get it. Awesome, we're gonna get it right tonight.
It's on the life. It's on the life of Shorty from the Lynch Mob. If you remember the Lynch Mob, the group, he literally actually is the one who actually made the whole West Coast conscious. No one really talked about his story, but he was the first to really make. He brought Ice Cube into the nation. He brought Mac 10 here. He brought everybody to consciousness, and it was a really dynamite brother. And he was part of Nation 19 also. He was one of the people that we worked with for years. So beautiful brother. And so yeah.
Awesome.
So check it out, and then we're gonna
turn it up.
Go. Yes, sir.
You gotta turn it up. You gotta make sure you turn it up.
All right. Let me know if it's not.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell you guys something that only one individual know about me. What my mom instilled in me through her womb was to make me a protector. The woman instilled in that child really his future. He could become a healer in the world, or he could become a killer. God blessed me to be both. I told Q, I said, brother, you ain't got to worry about them dudes no more. Congress had a secret meeting. We as conscious rappers was targeted. All these rappers who was kicking knowledge to our people, we got attacked.
Man.
Oh, I like that. All right, come on. Where do can we get the link?
It's not out yet. It's not out yet.
I travel with y'all in the
Chill,
back.
Rob.
In the back.
They're not gonna say
I ain't gonna leak it
on the
I ain't
air,
gonna
Rob.
leak it though.
Yeah, you can
I'm
come
not gonna leak
anytime if you gonna roll up. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Just
not
don't
gonna
holler
leak
at
it.
us. You
Listen,
can roll.
come
You
on,
can
man.
roll. You just when we take you to the crazy places, just don't get mad at us.
Just tell me what colors I can wear and what colors I can't wear.
Hey,
I'll show
you
up.
ain't even got to worry about that because
we
all
good.
you need to do is wear one of their shirts, and I'm about that's all you need to do.
Oh
That's
my God.
all
Oh
you
my
need to
God.
do. I'm telling you, that's
Listen.
all you need to do.
This dude.
And I'm
Man, y'all
and I
some dope
wanna
brothers, man. I really like this interview. I really think that you guys are really dope.
and I wanna take
Oh,
people
that is
through.
dope. Oh, I didn't see that one. The king, the king tuck with the flowers with the blue. Oh, that is awesome. Oh my.
Keeping it crip.
No.
That's crip blue.
All right. Oh, look, do what you do. Do what you do. I don't listen.
Do what you do.
Do what you do. I don't want no trouble. But that,
He said, I don't
Hold
want
on.
no trouble.
Hold on, y'all.
but you know
Y'all
what's crazy?
Y'all
But you
messing
know-
with my production, man.
The craziest part about it, though, just imagine if we actually could be unified,
Yeah, we will be.
right?
It's
That's the
happening.
piece, and that is also the piece because I didn't get the chance. I just threw up my fist, but the piece about integrating when we were still broken, right, is the biggest issue because you end up integrating and you filling holes with things that you think are real from people who didn't love you, right? So
Yes.
so that piece right there. Ooh. Oh my.
Like samurai.
These are man.
All right.
This is my latest piece right here. So
All right.
I just
So
want y'all to
just
see
wanna-
this. Keep talking, Rob.
I'm just no, but you got it. I'm just gonna tell you the king tut with
the
the game.
Asian letters, that stands for Black Pride in Chinese.
Ooh.
Black Power.
Can I just tell y'all? I mean, I don't know if y'all have it yet, but the king tut with the affiliated blue.
Whew.
And affiliated.
Y'all
I will tell you right now
Native
that right there, even the emblem on a hat would be dope.
Yeah.
listen,
So,
you don't know
Like
what you're talking about.
that right
But I'm
there.
telling you, but let me
I'm
say
talking
this
about
thing.
with the stitching on the
Let
59
me say
50
this
type
to you.
joint.
Let me say you don't know what you're talking about until you actually get one and you see it up close and personal and then colors is popping and you go into your closet, right, and you get the right pair of sneakers to go with this. I'm telling you,
what is it?
even this one right here, you know, I started rocking old gold chains again when I got this one right here, man. Like this is real anthropological.
And you know, this. I'm just gonna say
Photography.
this. That particular image that we shot of the king, you never see the image.
Never.
It's so rare to see that.
Which king
image.
is that? Which one is this?
That's
Which
this
one
one.
is
uncommon. That's
That's
uncommon.
that's still King Tut?
That's still King Tut.
Is his statue in Egypt that you never get a chance to see.
Look at that,
Black
man.
is all out.
Look at that.
Original, that is one of our photos from that from the it's called a Ka soldier. So it's, he had soldiers of himself in his near his sarcophagus protecting him, but that's him. Those are like extensions of his deity. But yeah,
This one right here is one of my favorite too, Rob.
Beautiful
Sister
people.
drinking at the beautiful people only,
people
because this goes above people's head right here. They see it go right above their head.
Wow.
I'm telling you. So y'all see the website.
Man, I
Shop
appreciate the love, man.
dot-
Y'all super dope. Y'all helping us fund the
shot.nation19.com.
revolution.
Come on, man.
Word.
And I know
Rob coming to the alley.
Yeah, we gotta bring
and if you're a
Rob
hip,
to the
yeah,
alley.
we gotta bring Rob to the alley.
Nah, y'all don't understand,
The
man.
alley. I said
I
island.
miss-
He said alley.
Listen, okay, I'm about to say because you talking about that. Wherever you take me at, just know once I've decided that I ain't coming back, I'm letting loose. I'm letting like, listen, you burn the shit with me there. They gonna be like, King Rob has returned.
Hey, never mind all that.
Oh, I did
This,
see you with this on. I did
yes,
see you with that one.
and
All right,
people think that's Batman, but that's not.
that's Black Man.
Black man.
That's Black Man. I
Real
catch people with
superhero.
this one all the time.
That's
I wore
dope.
this one so much I had to buy another one. No, straight up.
You got to sponsor this show.
Yo,
Oh,
man,
look
this
at
is
that, man.
this is one of my favorite ones right here
The
too.
Black Jesus. Oh my. No, not the Black Jesus. Jesus. Oh my.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, just Jesus.
Right.
This
Just
is
Jesus.
this is a dope one.
Oh. Come on, tell him who it is.
That's
Tell him who it is.
Asiatic.
Ain't that
Mhm.
Buddha?
Yeah, it's Asiatic, but that's Buddha.
That's
Yes,
Buddha.
that's Buddha.
That's the
But
original.
it's Buddha
That's the
with the
original Buddha.
with the
Yeah.
Afrocentric
That's the original
features.
Buddha.
With
Yeah.
the Afrocentric features.
That's the
Yeah, he
original
has the
Buddha.
happy hair and the whole deal.
All right, Rob, you saw.
I-
Oh yeah,
I do want to tell people too that if you want to know more about a lot of the stuff that we do research on, another colleague who just passed away of ours, a good friend and anthropologist, Renoko Rashidi. If you're not familiar with
yes,
you should, follow his people still run his Facebook page, and a lot of his books are like really, really, really great to understand the universal collective understanding of Black achievements throughout Asia, the Pacific Islands, and not just Africa. Like a lot of times we focus so much on Africa, but it's all throughout the whole planet. The
Right.
Solomon Islands is like, that's been our research for this whole year is the Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea. It's so much to it, and it's so
Right.
much beautiful, cultures that's out there.
right.
Wow.
Yes.
Beautiful,
No, this is
beautiful.
Yeah, man, we really appreciate, Queen.
Yeah, definitely. I
Queen.
had a good time.
Yes.
This is
No,
was
we
like, "Man,
we
gotta
really
do an interview."
appreciate.
Queen was like, we gotta do an interview at 7. I'm like, when is he gonna tell me about this?
No, I really appreciate y'all's time.
Yes. We do
I've
appreciate
been
y'all.
I've been eyeing this date on the calendar, really, because Rob and I really wanted to show y'all love because
Man,
these
I
are
appreciate that, man.
these are the hidden gems. People think they can only go and become professionals in certain things that they don't. You'd be surprised in the line of work that Rob and I do that
Mhm.
people in 2021 think that they can't and shouldn't and probably won't ever love what they do professionally to make a living for themselves.
Yeah.
So the balance that we bring to their lives through the guests that we invite is to show them that there's a completely other side of the spectrum. You can be
Yeah.
unapologetically who you are and love what you do,
Yeah.
and there's enough out here for us all to eat while you're doing it. And you two epitomize that, and we thank you from the bottom of my heart for
Yes.
coming and sharing some time with us. Y'all are a beautiful couple. You do such great work.
Yes.
I'm gonna continue to support, and I encourage everybody else out there to do the same. Just go to shop.nation19.com. You can see the magazine, you can see the t-shirts, and you can read up about all of the hidden subliminal gems on each shirt. Subscribe to the magazine and then follow their film anthology. They are award-winning film makers, and we need to support that because they came up out of corporate trauma just like a lot of us. So appreciate y'all for your time. Rob, any last words?
Yeah, you guys are super dope, man. I think this is one of the
And
best interviews that I've ever been a part of. It's really dope.
y'all have no idea. Y'all have warmed my heart today.
Yes.
Listen, usually I'm just all fun and jokes and real sharp things to say, but when I tell you the love that I feel from y'all, even for each other, coming through this contraction, right? Like it
Right.
is awesome. and man, keep doing what y'all doing because the
Yes.
stories need to be told, but I can't wait till they tell y'all story.
Yes.
And
we did it
lastly,
first.
lastly, also, I think that Black people should learn different languages.
Yes.
Come out of your comfort zone, come out, do just, just do everything that they say that we don't supposed to do and be what you want to be and just have fun and, just be fun being whoever you are, if whatever, but definitely embrace other cultures too. A lot of times the native communities, they only know their culture. They don't know anybody else's culture. Sometimes we do the same thing too. And so it's okay to, like I am, and I really like learn my wife's culture, Samoan culture, because I wanted to know everything about it. And it's important, because then I can relate to her culture better and her people. So, learn culture. Culture is important.
Yes. Culture is definitely important.
Culture is the revolution.
Yes. Right. Absolutely.
Great
Well,
point.
thank you so much. You have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank your family for sharing you with us
Yes.
and the world.
They in the background listening.
Yeah.
Doing something.
All right.
All right,
We
man. Peace
appreciate
and love to both of you and y'all families as well.
Okay.
And much success to y'all show. And whatever we can do to help you, just hit us up at any time. All right.
Absolutely.
Do. I just want to be in one of them videos. Let me be in one of the movies. Look, I'm getting my plug early. When it pops off, I want to be in. They like, we need an extra guy. I'm Paul too. I'm not like one of those guys on the regular movies who be like 5'6". I'm Paul. I don't know when you look like
that's
dude,
no.
like, yeah.
Oh, Rob.
Yeah.
The Black Panther. Yeah.
All right, whatever that is, as long as I live at the end. I don't want my first movie to be I die at the end. I want to live. I want to walk up out there. Yeah, I want to live. I don't know. Call me for that. Whatever I'm living, I just want to make sure I live.
Right.
You good. You good. We won't put you in the helicopter.
Duh. Don't do that. All right.
Well, we appreciate y'all though. We definitely do.
West Side.
Oh, he called the W's. Okay.
Yeah. Represent.
I'm start singing California.
No.
How to party. You're like,
nobody in LA like that song.
Well, I ain't from LA. California. Knows how to party.
Man, where you find this brother, Jamal? Cool.
Hey, listen.
You know what I mean?
Nobody finds Rob. Rob finds you. That's
dope.
That's
dope. I got good chemistry.
Yeah, man. When y'all in the Southeast, hit us up. We can do this in person.
Yeah, definitely.
But until then, y'all continue to do what y'all are doing, man. Much love.
Peace and love.
Keep blazing the trails.
Peace.
All right. Oh wow, that was dope, man. That was dope,
man. We got to turn. Hey, look, we got to turn it up on this ear, man.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
I think we did a good job.
Nice.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed myself. You enjoy yourself?
And I enjoy myself a lot because they talking about stuff many of us have never done. Like I'm not just talking about stuff that you've heard about. Like you may have heard about certain things. Man, they doing it. They actually doing it, and they documenting it for the betterment of the people and of the world. And that's just dope, man. That's
and you can see the enthusiasm bubbling in them from their experience. Who wouldn't want them working with them on something, anything? You understand what I'm saying? So that's the difference, man. That's say what you want, right? Agree or disagree. And you'd be very hard pressed to disagree with anything that was shared tonight. However, those of we understand that perspective and personal experience and your ability to be able to relate and resonate with what's presented to you is important. However, one thing that we can definitely agree with is that we are more productive with whatever we decide to do professionally when we love what we do. And like I always say, Rob, people can see you if what you're doing comes from a real place. If it ain't real, I can't see you. And why would I want to? Right? So, man, another great one.
That was dope, bro.
That was dope.
Yeah, Leave it, man. We ain't got nothing else to say, man. I just hope people really appreciate that. I learned some things, and I got some things that I want to work on and think about just from reading it, even in my own household. And I will say this, but yeah, as always, I'll always say something.
Yep.
He mentioned John Heinrich Clark.
John Henry Clark. Yep.
Listen, I mess up the name, Henrik Clark, right?
Yep.
And man, you gotta find him on YouTube. And it's one piece, man. It hits me so hard every time I watch it. And he says, if people can't imagine, like the imagination is so powerful. He said it was regardless of what faith, what religion you follow, when you close your eyes, it was never meant for you to see somebody else as your savior that doesn't look like you. Right? The power, he said, once you capture someone's imagination, you capture the essence of who they are. And at times I feel like, man, even though people may not think about it, but for
Yeah.
this show, as we get ready to close out the year, our
Yep.
first year, you know, giving people that idea of getting themselves back and being able to imagine something greater for themselves and their family is a great honor. And those two individuals, Queen and Hakeem, you know, they are the essence of that, and that's just dope to me.
Right.
So like that's just so dope, the ability to imagine something and just say, hey, I'm gonna make it happen, and then you see it. And for those who haven't been in that place before, where you create something from here and then you can touch it and you can feel it, it is something, it is unmatched. Just
Right.
believe me when I say it.
Right. And those of you out here that are navigating the corporate industrial complex, and
Mhm.
eh, there's a difference when you walk into a room, right? If there's two of us
Mhm.
that walk into a room full of professionals and everybody else in the room don't look like you,
Mhm.
but one of us has their experience and one of us don't, we're coming out the end of that experience, right? Of walking
Mhm.
into that room and not being able to identify with anybody in
Mhm.
it differently if you don't have that level of experience in the cultures of the world
Mm.
that we just saw through Queen and Hakeem. So
Mhm.
we've truly been edified, educated tonight.
Yes.
So and if you don't get it, you will. Just give it some time. And if you don't believe me, just take a few minutes, skip through the
Mhm.
video on either platform that we're on and take a look at it again. Um, because corporate trauma is a sneaky passive trauma that will creep up on you. And when it does,
It is time to level up.
all right, till we meet again, we see
Till we
y'all
meet again.
soon. Have
Peace.
a blessed evening. Peace.